how do you guys usually write songs?
The writing process is quite simple actually. We are a jam room band, I would say, at writing music. We meet up, we sit down, we write stuff. Most of the times we have the riffs coming in from the guitarist side or input coming in from the drummer's side or something where where we would meet up and we would just hear stuff out and give our opinions about how we want a track to be like or what we want to write about. Once the basic guitars and drums are set, then we go to the next step of getting the vocal structures in and getting the lyrics in. And many a times what happens is we have the lyrics changing the structures molding the lyrics in a certain way. Themes come in quite actively in Gutslit. We believe a lot in themes. That is what theme we are writing a song about. So the lyrical pattern always revolves around a lot of content. There is no ambiguous matter as such. There's a lot of concise and thought about content and flow of songs, how and what the storytelling is gonna be about. Most of the times it's about serial killers or devices used for mass murder. But whatever is there, we've stuck to a lot of non-fiction as of now, where things have which have been really been there out there. There is a little inclination of fiction, maybe that might happen in the next album, but as of now, we've been always been about the reality of human existence and how people have been all over.
And who comes up with the themes?
Themes of lyrical structure, you mean?
Yeah, the themes for the songs.
Themes of the song. Themes of the song. It's a mixed effort. Our earlier guitarist, he was one of the major contributors for song names as such, and that revolved the themes, and then I wrote down the lyrics for the same. Second album, Amphitheater, the themes were the central theme was decided. I don't even remember who did it, whether it was I think me or the drummer, Aaron Pinto. We majorly decided on using torture devices, and it evolved from there. The third is specifically decided by Aaron. He wanted serial killers in there, and we did a whole tribute for serial killers. And we obviously all of us having a big inclination towards all these series that we keep on watching of these mass murderers and super smart serial killers. It's rather an ode or a tribute to them because they've been meticulous at planning all these things and how they've gone through the whole psyche behind it. So it's amazing. So yeah, it's more or less the joint effort of the whole band.
So let's talk about this latest album. The third Gutslit album is called Carnal, and it will be self-released on the 7th of July of this year, 2023. When did you guys start working on this album?
Oh, that's almost half a decade ago. It's been quite a long journey for this specific album because everybody knows how COVID has affected things. Sadly for us, we had a major lineup change also in the middle of the whole process. And even after we had the album written, we had a vocalist change. I mean, Aditya was there in the band earlier. He had left in the middle, and then he came back, and we had the guitars done. We had to with the replacement guitarist who had filled in. He ended up writing the lyrics for the songs and the vocal structures. So there's a big contribution from him. Then he left, and then we got a producer on board for not sorry, not a producer, but we got Mark Lewis on board for mixing and mastering. So the whole process took a lot of time because his schedule was also quite tight, and he had to delay the project also here and there and fix a proper time to do this. But trust me, the patience and the whole weight game paid off. The album is super heavy and it's super fun, and it's exactly how we wanted it to happen.
Yeah.
So in short, the album took half a decade, but it's worth the wait.
And how would you compare Carnal to the first two albums?
Adi, you want to answer this one?
I would actually say that it's a mixture of both, and it is actually the evolved version of both those albums put together. And plus, it has also has elements of this. Actually, Mark Lewis has done an amazing job on this, and it has kind of given a proper. He envisioned it perfectly as we wanted to, and he just made it sound so perfect. So I would say that it's like a perfect mixture of both the previous albums, so Skewered and the Sewer and Amphitheater.
So Adi, when you say a more evolved version, musically, how would you say you guys have evolved over the years?
I would say the songwriting, the way we kind of, put our thoughts together and the way we have put all these parts in those songs together, it has been very different. And it has been kind of like the thing that we had envisioned. And it was like all these years we've been wanting to do that, but this album made us feel like, oh yes, this sounds good. This is how we wanted to sound over the years, and it came out extremely nice.
So basically, I'll just add to it. We are evolving with time, to be very specific. 2007, when the band was formed, the available options of making it sound in a certain way and the music that was appreciated by people, then moving on to the next album and taking it from then to here, we've evolved with time in terms of we've gone up with the production level, we've gone up with live drums, we've gone pro getting a proper mixing and mastering engineer on board and giving an outside perspective and a different ear to the band who can mix and master and give his own touch to it. So it's basically like how bands evolve in general. Overall, if you see any of the big bands also, like be it Cannibal Corpse, Napalm Death, Dying Fetus, Aborted, Meshuggah, any band, there's a, that you need to grow with the technology, you need to grow with time, you need to grow with the sound, and you have more accessible options to in simple terms, you have like better systems now, better speakers, better headphones to listen to music. So why not give them an experience of a lifetime?
It sounds like evolution is important for you guys.
Yes, evolution. Yes, evolution is quite important.
I mean, it's a somewhat controversial idea. I mean, on one hand, you could say evolution. On the other hand, you know, people might also say, progressive. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's a double-sided sword, to be very honest. What you're saying is absolutely right. We have definitely lost a few fans here and there because they've not been happy about how the band has progressed. But sticking to the genre and sticking to what you would want to play is also very important. I would say, you cannot stick to a certain style forever and not grow with your music because music is something that you have to grow with, and it's something that you need to explore more and release more, and that is how it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the serial killer themes on this album. Do you want to mention some of the serial killers who you write about?
Adi, you want to take this or you want me to answer?
You are the man behind this whole theme, bro. So I think it will be only fair that you answer
So,
this.
so, so basically, the songs, all of the songs are inspired by the serial killers, that have been there on the album. I'll keep a few things behind the curtains as of now, but we've picked out a few of our favorites. Majorly, there have been a lot of documentaries out there of all of them. So I can give you a gist of like a clue, basically. Like if you've seen Mindhunters on Netflix, or if you've seen any of those documentaries on all these people who've been there making America great, how it is, and so basically the whole idea is to work the psyche more than what who the serial killer is, the psyche that they've gone behind it and the way they have processed the whole mass murder or whole the process of getting to the point where they've lost or found themselves and done all these acts and still are quite proud about the way they've done it. So it's more of that.
And you had a guest vocalist on this album.
So yeah, so we have Julian from Benighted who is doing guest vocals on one of the songs called Bind Torture Kill. So yeah, he's a very good friend of the band, and we've played with Benighted multiple times. In fact, we've toured India with them, and we've shared stage in Europe multiple times. And he's a very good friend. And we pitched the idea to him to pick one of his favorite songs from the new album, and he liked this one, and he wanted to work on this, and we let him do his magic and work around the song. So the theme was given by us, the storyline that the killer was given by us, but then he wrote the whole thing up. So it was quite fun.
You mentioned Mark Lewis mixed and mastered the album, but your guitarist Pratik engineered the album. Is that correct?
Yes.
So, in addition to being the guitarist for Gutslit, Pratik is also a music producer who's worked on a little TV show called The Book of Boba Fett and another little TV show called The Mandalorian and a movie called Creed 3. So he seems to be quite in demand for his skills.
Yeah, so he is actually quite an amazing producer. Back to the credits go back to him, and he's been quite at it by at this job, and he's done a brilliant job back at this of writing music and being part of Custard. So that's there. That's and yeah, the boy is talented. The boy is finding his true calling. He's in Hollywood right now, and he's killing it, and he's making a big name for himself, which is amazing.
Yeah, that's great. It's rare that I speak to a band who has credits on both. Encyclopedia Metallum, and IMDb.
Yeah, we like to be famous.
Does Pratik have his own studio? Or did you guys work remotely? Did you record remotely?
No, so that's as I said, like the recording, what was happening was we had at that time Pratik was in India. We were just finishing up our European tour, and we had everything lined up for finishing off the guitars at least before he leaves. We finished up the drums, we finished up the guitars before he left. He made sure that he got things the way he wanted them to be done. We hired studio in Bombay itself, Mumbai, where we stay, and we got those things lined up. Vocals were done remotely. They were done later, much later, and that also like was ultimately supervised and engineered by him like remotely.